Welcome to First Congregational Church of Coventry. We have Sunday worship at 10 a.m., and I'll introduce Pastor Dave Nutt. To the few of you who don't know him, just say hello. Okay, I'm Carol North, and I'm in the choir and do other stuff. Our musicians, you want to know who these people are up here? We have Mark and Beverly Davis. Yes. Let me give you a little bit of info about the two of them since we haven't had them here before. Mark is recognized as a leader in the field of plucked string music, known equally for his work as a mandolinist, guitarist, conductor, and educator. And he does all of that. He's a pro, is what he is. Lots of recordings, lots of tours, he conducts the Providence Mandolin Orchestra since 1989, performs on the mandolin with the Hampton Trio. He's been lots of places, international tours, directed the 2001 International Festival of, that's Beverly that did that. Hang on. Got the wrong one. I started on that sentence too quick. She's the president of the Providence Mandolin Orchestra. She's organized numerous international tours, directed the 2001 International Festival of Mandolins in Providence, Rhode Island. She studied the classical guitar with Reed DeRosier at Keene State College. She also performs with the New American Mandolin Ensemble and the Hampton Trio. So, let's see. Yeah. On the back of your program, you'll see I made a note of their website. So anything else you want to know about them, you can go online. And tell me about the thing that you said, that your CD may be downloaded from the Bandcamp site. That's exactly right. Is that a free download, or is that a one? It's no, but a way for people to purchase music online. Music online. Okay. Get a royalty, okay. Okay, very good then. So that's also on the back of your program. You have some actual CDs that you're going to have available this afternoon. Okay, very good. So that's some stuff about them. Let me move that out of the way. Then we have Roberta Banks, Roberta Lynn M. Banks.
Hi, y'all.
Yeah. I think most every one of you knows Roberta, but I got a few bits about her. She started the hammered dulcimer. Hammered. This is the hammered dulcimer here. That's that thing. When she borrowed Joyce Knowlton's back in 1999. So you haven't been doing the hammereds just not even 25 years yet. No. But she's getting there. 20-something. Well, yeah, 23 maybe, something like that. Your food's up here. She's Connecticut Dulcimer Folk Association. She's been in that for 30 plus years. There's another kind of dulcimer. She'll tell you what that is too. It's called a mountain dulcimer. I won't say anything more about it. Let her talk about it. And she's in this Dulcimers and More group. And I guess you can tell us anything more you want us to know. How's that? Okay. Now, then there's Fred. You all know, most all of you know Fred. This one. Not that one. Okay. He started playing the piano, first lessons at age 5. He started playing the organ at age 10, and he got his first organist job in a church at 15. And he has been more or less continuously playing the organ for one church or another since then. And if any of you know how old he is, you'll know how long. I don't do the math. Okay. More than 50 years, let's put it that way. He's been in congregational churches. That's where he started out, and that's where he is now, of course. He's been at Methodist churches for a couple of times, Presbyterian churches for a couple of times, and also an Episcopal church. He is now, and has been since after college, involved in sales of one kind or another. Pianos, he sold Steinways for a while. No, he didn't. I thought there were Steinways at that place. Oh, Yamahas, pardon me. What do I know? I was just trying to finish my degree. Okay, so pianos, and he has sold organs. They were not Allens, they were Rogers, thank you. And he's sold computers and things having to do with computers as well. And he is currently the treasurer for the Northeastern Connecticut chapter of the American Guild of Organists. So that's Fred. I was writing on some notes that he wanted back. Okay, so I want to thank all of you who brought food. It was great, but if you didn't, or even if you did, you may still want to contribute into the offering plate, which is sitting right here. If you need to take a break while we're having this concert, most of you know this, but not everybody does. The restrooms are out this door here, round to the left and then the right. We're going to have light refreshments. That means decaf coffee, not regular. It's too late for regular caffeinated. Light refreshments in the hall, which is past those restrooms. Notice on the program that many, but not all times, there are 3 pieces of music at a time. Please hold your applause until after all 3 have been played, just to keep things moving along a little bit. You will hear the players, the musicians up here say a few words probably from time to time about the piece of music or something else. You'll hear that. Finally, I want to thank all of you who helped arrange this concert and also brought refreshments.
So the first piece I'm going to play, the Fanfare for a Joyful Day. Dale Wood was an American award-winning composer, it says here on my notes. And I happen to know the first award he won, he was the age of 15. So, you know, he's started early. And then he also, besides being a performer, organist, choir director, that sort of thing, educator, for many, many years he was the editor of the Sacred Music Press, which was the sacred division, I believe, of Lorenz Corporation, which is a big music publisher. So anyway, now I have to tell you, we deliberately set this concert up to have lots of variety. So the organ, of course, is capable of both playing very softly and very loudly. This piece is kind of on the loud side. So in case you have sensitive hearing, just be warned, okay?
it's really nice to be here on this afternoon, involved in such a nice cause as this, and this beautiful church. It's really a treat for us. So we're going to start with a Suite Carousel, a suite in 3 movements by the Czech guitarist, composer Milan Tesar. He calls this piece Suite Carousel, or the merry-go-round suite. And the intermezzo, you can really hear the sounds of an old-fashioned merry-go-round. That's followed by a very beautiful song, the aria movement, and then the finale movement. So in contrast with the organ, now we have the intimate sound of 2 classical guitars.
Hello, everyone. A lot of you have heard me play before, but not on this dulcimer. This one I just got in August. It's 25 strings bigger than my last one. It was made in North Carolina. I met the maker. His name is Jerry Reed Smith. And the first song I'm going to play is called Exploring the Song. And that's because this model is called the Explorer. And the name of his shop is Song of the Wood. And he had said he likes to coax the song out of the wood. So usually when I start playing a different instrument, I like to write a song on that instrument. So this is the first one, Exploring the Song. Okay, the next one is one called Carolyn's Dulcimer, and I wrote that on her dulcimer when I ended up with her dulcimer. And she was going to try to be here, but she didn't make it. So this was Carolyn's Dulcimer. Okay, this next one is called Audrey Irene's Dream Waltz.
Okay, so to tell you a little bit about the next piece, we're now going to a whole different style of organ music. This is from the Romantic era in French organ music. The composer Leon, and I'm sorry I don't pronounce French very well, Boyleman, was a child prodigy. He entered music school at the age of 9, and during his 10 years there, he won first prize in piano, organ, counterpoint, fugue, plain song, and composition. Of the 160 known compositions of his, the Gothic Suite is the most famous, especially the concluding toccata, which I'm not playing today. I'm playing the prayer from that suite instead. And I'm not actually playing it on this organ. I'm going to be using these keys, but the computer sitting next to the organ is going to be providing the sounds. So see if you can tell the difference. Of course, it'd be good if I turned the sound on first. if I can talk and change things up on the computer at the same time, we're going to take a little trip across the English Channel to England and go to a typical 19th century English parish church. Hello? Oh, okay. Kind of like the ones we see on the PBS Mysteries all the time, where they have a modest pipe organ of a particular style, and it was very popular to play what the English called voluntaries, which kind of were like a little introduction that was usually a slow chordal movement, and then a little bit more sprightly movement after that. And so we're going to hear one of those as soon as the computer finishes loading the organ. Oh, I should mention, by the way, the type of voluntary that I'm going to play very often is the sprightly movement is written to have a solo trumpet line or a solo line for a compound stop, which is spelled C-O-R-N-E-T, and which could be pronounced cornet, which is how the British do it. But it's really a French word, so I think it should be given the French pronunciation, cornet. And what it consists of is a series of typically 4 or 5 different sets of pipes which play at different pitches and make a similar sound to a reed stop, but it's a lot cheaper. Okay, we're getting there. Sorry, I forgot this one took so long to load. It's a small organ, it shouldn't take that long. But the technology for this virtual pipe organ software has evolved over the years, and this is one of the earlier sets that I've got, and I think they load a lot slower than the new ones. The last piece I played is on one of the larger sets I have, and it loaded a lot faster than this one. So, sorry.
Tell them how they get the sounds.
Oh yeah, that's interesting too. The way that organs such as the Allen that we have started out with computer technology, but the computer technology then made its sounds up by mathematically figuring out sine waves and other types of waves using different frequencies put together. And it works quite well. As you heard in the first piece, it sounds quite good. But as time went on, recording technology got a lot better, not only just to record music on organs and then play it back for you to listen to, but also they could take and place the microphones very close to the pipes or further back in the room, and then put that all together and record the sound of each and every pipe separately, okay? And then let us organists control it from a keyboard of some kind. Didn't have to be a big one like this. It could be a portable keyboard. And you would then play back the sounds of the pipes as they were recorded in the room. And as time has gone on, now a lot of those characteristic sounds are adjustable. In other words, mechanical action organs, where when you play, you not only hear the sound from the pipes, but you hear a good deal of clacking from the physical keys on the keyboards as well. Well, if you don't like that, I mean, it's historic, it's accurate, some people love it, but if you don't like it, you'd really just like to hear the pipes, that's okay, you can turn it off. I don't have that problem with this organ. Okay, so now I think we're ready to go. Now, for something completely different, we're going back to our own Allen organ, but it's going to sound quite different because Carol asked me to play something that used a theater organ type of registration. So that's what we're going to do. In case you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm turning the computer off because the computer's audio tends to interfere with this organ's audio if you try and play them together. So that's something for future improvement to get fixed. All right, now. Okay. Sorry, I put the paper clip in the wrong place. That looks better. Okay.
So we're going to do a suite of 3 pieces. It's not actually a suite because the 3 pieces are by 3 very different composers. But in typical suite, or in typical form, it's a fast piece, a slow piece, and a fast piece. We're going to start with the Sonata in A by Domenico Scarlatti. This was, of course, not written for 2 guitars, but for keyboard, but transposed for 2 guitars, and it works quite well. The second piece is a favorite piece of ours. It's the second movement of Vivaldi's Sonata Concerto for 2 mandolins. And we've done it, of course, in the past with 2 mandolins, but I realized it sounds really beautiful on 2 guitars. So I arranged for the 2 for us to be able to play the two mandolin parts and the continuo backing line. And we will end with a piece by Antonio Soler, a Spanish composer, who wrote this piece in A minor, again for keyboard, but it translates very well to guitar, and you will hear some very Spanishy sort of sounds in this last of the three pieces.
I just wanted to say a couple more things. I'm happy to be here and to be asked to be here. and to be able to share my dulcimer music with you all. This dulcimer, Carolyn had asked me, I believe it was Carolyn, what kind of wood it was made out of, because it's got so many pretty colors in it. The bottom is tulip poplar. The top is quartersawn African sapelli wood. There's purple heart in the bridges. There's curly maple in the bridges. And I liked this one because it was made in North Carolina, northern rock maple for the pin blocks. So we must have sturdy trees up here. Only maybe he meant Canada, but I don't know. I'd like to acknowledge a few of you might have seen the couple that came in over here, Carolyn and Joey. This is the Carolyn I wrote Carolyn's dulcimer on, or for, and on. And it's Carolyn's birthday, so happy birthday, Carolyn. And for Audrey Irene's Dream Waltz, my nephew recorded it, so it got played at her service. Okay, I'm going to play a song called Pig Ankle Rag. Again, a totally different style, like everyone else is changing things, which I'm sure is what you all like. We hope. I also added a part because when I learned it on the dulcimer, a different dulcimer, I was playing everything on the treble bridge. There's 3 bridges on this treble bass and a super bass. I haven't had it long enough to play the super bass, but any really low notes you hear is the super bass. I'll have more later, maybe when I play in church again. Yeah, this dulcimer also has a damper system, which would quiet down my notes with these rails, and it's on the pedal. And again, everything that I've written so far, I've written for a dulcimer that resonates and the sounds never end. Now I can write some stuff that the sounds do end. And in another song or so, you'll hear what it really sounds like with using the dampers. Back to the Pig Ankle Rag. As I said, it played more on the treble bridge the way I played it. So I added the whole leg 2 to mix it up a little to make it funner for me to play. So I hope you enjoy it. I can find the right note to start. I had said that this dulcimer has 25 more strings than the other, which brings it up to 100. So it's a few. Believe it or not, as a teenager, when I was marching in a parade and with the Nathan Hale Fifes and Drums from Coventry here, I fell in love with the song, never found out what it was. Evidently, it stuck in my head. And the group that was playing it, I'd never seen before. It was a Philadelphia string band. And I don't know if any of you have seen them before. This group at that time wore gorgeous regalia. They were feathers. They were Mardi Gras style. Sorry. Mardi Gras style. They were white. They were white, yellow, pink, blue, green. And it was a headdress, and it started way up here and went all the way down to the ground. I could only see the front line of marchers, and they were playing tenor banjos. And it was the Mummers was the name of this group. And they would march down the street and play Mardi Gras, New Orleans type music. And I just was so fascinated because when they played a type of song that called for it, they would strut down the street. So if you can imagine all these feathers going down the street like this, and they're just playing like they don't even own the feathers, and they would all turn around, and it was just so fascinating. Carol had said I belonged to the Connecticut Dulcimer Folk Association, and at one point they passed out that song, and it's down yonder. And I hope you enjoy it as much as I did, and still do. And that was with the dampers. That was my different sound. Also, on a hammer dulcimer, you get different sounds by different sticks. Joyce and I probably together have probably 2 dozen sticks anyway. There you are, yeah. I know I got like 12 pairs. We don't just go out and buy new dulcimer every festival, we buy new sticks. These have a wooden side and a leather side. Hence the difference. Tone also, I like as much variety as I can find. Okay, the next song I'm going to play is Pike City Candy Power, and as it's written, as it's listed in your program, it's by a man named Turlo Caroline. He lived in the 1600s, and he was blinded, I think, by smallpox as a youngster, and he became an itinerant teacher. He would go around from farm to farm and teach usually the females in the farm for room and board how to play the harp. A lot of his music survived as one-liners, so the tune survived. And over the years, from the 1600s to now, people added chords to them. And as a hammer dulcimer player, a lot of what I play is what I like. So I add notes to the song. So as an example of that, I'm going to play the first part of this song, Plank City, Fanny Power. As it came down, it was just a one-liner. And also, Plank City, there's a little disagreement on this, but most people think that that was an Irish word for in honor of. So before he left the house, he would make a song in honor of someone there. So Fanny Power, in honor of Fanny Power. And there's a lot of music, and I like most all of it that I've ever heard.
The theme was written by Gustav Holst, whose father was Swedish, mother English. He was born and raised in England. And he was, most of the music that I come across to play for church and so on is written by either pianists or organists. Mr. Holst was a trombone player. So it's not too surprising that his most famous composition was for orchestra, okay? And it was the Planets Suite, which hopefully many of you have heard. If not, I recommend you go to YouTube and hear a recording of it. It's an incredible suite. And this particular theme is from the Jupiter section. And it's very famous theme in England. It's not only been made into a hymn tune, but also into a British national patriotic song. So they really like it over there. I do too. Charles Callahan is a contemporary of mine. In fact, he was a year ahead of me at the College of Church Musicians in Washington, D.C. And I've run into him a few times since, most notably at the Boston American Guild of Organists Convention. I believe he lives in the Boston area now, and he's still composing.
of Ed Flower is very dear to our hearts. And so these are familiar tunes that you probably know. The Barbara Allen, Tragic Love Song. What's the second one we were playing? Oh, let me tell you about My Last Farewell to Sterling. This is not a traditional folk song, but it's an original piece by Ed Flower concerning the port in Scotland from which many boats left carrying the convicts to the New World, or more likely to Australia. And so in this piece, he imagines a sort of a going away party for these people who had no idea where they were going. Some of them were convicted on such small offenses as stealing a loaf of bread, and then they were sent to Australia, which, by the way, was not a bad place to go. We've been there several times and we love it. So I don't feel too bad for these people, but they did form quite an interesting society in Australia. But this is a going away party. You'll hear the bagpipes start and end this piece, and in between you'll hear a little melancholy, and then you'll hear some drinking and dancing. And at the end, you can hear the boat sailing away. We're going to end with a gorgeous sort of a love song called Wild Mountain Time.
The song I'm going to play for you next is called Cold Frosty Morning, like we've been having a few, I think too early. Yeah. I like this song because it kind of stays in a close-knit area on the dulcimer, and I can play it in different places on the dulcimer, which is really in different keys. So I decided to play it the way I play it at home, which is kind of all over the dulcimer. So Cold Frosty Morning, to me, is like high in icicles. But then as it gets dark, it's like lower and colder. Kept asking me if I was going to play an Irish song. I would like to thank all the extra people that have filtered in that I think I know every one of you. So thank you very much for coming. And that goes for all the church people too, except for these two great players over here. I don't think I've missed anybody. I think I know you all. So thank you for coming, all of you, and thank you too. I've enjoyed it. Okay, the last song I'm going to play is called Bow Creek. And I wrote this song while I was had a penny whistle with me, which is how I write a lot of my songs if I'm on a trip. And we were up in Vermont, and I believe I was sitting by Bow Creek in the summertime. So it wasn't cold. I hope you enjoy it.
So I would like to add my thanks and appreciation for all the performers tonight and so many of you that came. It's terrific, and thanks for piling up the food for the needy there. We really appreciate it. As many of you know, because you come to church frequently here, the congregation loves to hear toccatas for postludes. So that's what you're going to get tonight too. It's interesting, the toccata format, one of the most famous composers of them is J.S. Bach, of course, German, but then they kind of morphed into a little different style in France, particularly in the 19th century when Cavaillé-Coll was building massive symphonic organs for so many churches in the country. And this one is just simply titled French Toccata, or Toccata Française, as it's published, by an American who only recently, a few years ago, passed away. I mean, he's fairly contemporary. And he wrote quite a lot of toccatas, actually. He loved the format, too. So I hope you enjoy it.